Adding the aux port to the Emerson. Let's jump right in. Well, you know how plans change and how that works. I thought I was going to mount that in the top of the back of this, where I outlined in the last video, but watching that video, I found a much better spot. And I'm going to point that out to you right now. That's right here. I want to double check, make sure that the what do you call it, does not interfere with that. How I'm going to do that is sit this up here. There you can see. Here is the top of the battery compartment. Right there. Hitting that. So this area right here is going to be a very nice place to put that. And I think that has no effect on it. I thought maybe it might. But no, the handle doesn't have any effect on it at all. So this area right here is my spot, and that's gonna work out rather nicely, I think. So what I'm gonna do is basically, and I've changed my mind also about the procedure that I'm using to install the jack. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with that larger bit. Go down just enough to where it's in there at the right space. That leaves me a center punch because of the drill bit, so the shape of the drill bit. And all I have to do is take the smaller bit then, go through that, and that's done. So I think that's the best way to do it. So that's what I'm going to do. Let me do that, and I'll bring you back. Alright, well there what you see is our jack installed. It's not done yet, obviously. I just put it in there to check it out. Anyway, there it is back in there, and let's say it needs a little more tightening, but that can be accomplished no problem. Again, I can probably do this with a screwdriver or something of that sort, just by scoring it. Maybe even the utility knife or something like that, just to get a cut in it, then I can move it. I may do that and see. One way or the other, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. Alright, we got on macro now. There is a very, very slight gap right there on that. There's absolutely no connectivity between here and here now. And so that's what we were absolutely looking for. Also, let me show you also, I went from this point, which is the low side of the volume control, over to this point, which is circuit ground, and there is 3 ohms. And if I hold my leads together on my ohm meter, it says 3 ohms. So that is ground. This volume controller, that will be our place to mount our ground connection for our jack. And so that will be even more handy than it was going to be, I thought. That's going to work out really good. I really like that a lot. So what I'm going to do is wire up the jack itself. I'll take it out, wire it up, put my pigtail here, come over here, and can do our connections here, and do it up above a little bit. And that should not interfere with the antenna wire, I don't think. Alright, now you can see the final wiring here. The blue wire comes in underneath here like this. It's got plenty of room to reach its destination. The aux wires are not touching anything. There's plenty of room there between everything that needs to be room against. And this is well tight in there. The nut. I have also tested the AC. Puts out 7.5 volts AC, so that's good. That should be plenty. And so the next step for me is to clear off these and get the wires soldered back on, and then do the orange, the red, wherever it's at. I never can find it. Anyway, I think that's it right there. I think the what do you call it got ripped off. Anyway, in the black. So once I get those done, this thing will be ready to pop back together, and then we will have a final test. Alright, well what you can see in front of you is the cassette AM/FM radio boombox, whatever you want to call it. There's the final look at the aux jack. And I do have a cord plugged into the back, if you can see there. Now this is not the right cord, and I have to hold it in there to get it to work, but it will work on batteries just fine. Not a big concern to me. I just bought this to show somebody else how to do this, so you know, it's not no big deal to me. I can look for the right cord later on, no big deal. I've tried two different cords. This one doesn't work either. Of course, this is designed for a different thing completely, but like I said, I have some more of those cords around here, at least 2 more I think, so I could try those I guess, but I think they're all about the same, so there must be a specialized one. I think the problem is the pins that connect to the AC part are too small for this cord, and you have to hold it in there. Like I'll show you what I'm talking about.
So we'll leave it at the very least, and we'll.
So there you go. That's what you have to do to get it to work. That's no big deal to me, like I said. What I'm doing today is going to show you a couple different ways this works. First one is with the phone, using as an MP3 player, and let me plug that in. So that's plugged in. The phone is going to be turned on here. We'll get it started playing and see what happens. There we go. It is playing now. Let me turn this, or not turn this down, but push down on it.
Those kids for taking a walk outside. I'm blowing the day to take a walk in the sun. 7.
What number is this, Chip?
8.
Okay, don't get excited, man. Short, I know.
There you go. That works pretty good. So now we're going to do the same thing with the Bluetooth. Plug that into that. And we're going to plug it in back here. And we're going to turn the Bluetooth on. We should hear something, I think. Well, we won't hear anything because it's not playing. Well, I mean, it's not connected. I haven't pushed down on the cord. That's what I'm trying to say. So here, let me turn it on. Well, there we go. Now it's playing. Push down on it.
Won't you come out to play? While I'm far away from you, my baby.
So that is Bluetooth. Alright, there you go. There's your demonstration of that working just fine. I should have probably hooked up the battery. It would have been a little bit more more stable. But like I said, I just wanted to show you that the everything is working. It's just getting the right cord for it. It's the only thing I've got to do. So I think I showed you before on the how I hooked it up. Now again, I don't know if I mentioned this, but this does not work on tape. I should have figured that out because when you put it to tape, basically it turns the unit off until you press the play. And that's the way it's designed, so that the amplifier is not running all the time. You know, there would be basically no off if you couldn't do it that way. So when you press play, it does work. But again, you're gonna be playing what he calls thin, so you're not gonna be worried about the Bluetooth. So, anywho, that's a quick look at it, or not a quick look, anything but quick, Marty. I'm gonna turn this over to Bob for some final comments, and he can tell you. I don't know exactly how he's doing this, but I'm between my video segments, I'm leaving blank space. He can use that space to comment on each segment. It doesn't matter to me how he does it, but I wanted to leave him the option to do that. And like I said, I think it turned out rather well. I'm happy with the way it turned out. Again, it would work fine on batteries if I had the D-cell batteries. I think it's D-cell, C-cell or D-cell batteries this takes. I'd put them in there and show you, but I don't have them. So that's about it. Like I say, we're going to turn it over to Bob and let him explain what's going on. Take it away, Bob.
Okay, Doug, I think that came out really nice looking. And I think that was a smart move, moving it up there. And that way you don't have to have worry about having wires to connect and disconnect when you take the back on and off. Nice clean fit. Looks like it was made for it. Addressing a couple questions that came up in the comments on the video. As far as using balancing resistors for converting the stereo down to mono or whatever, if we were using something that had a high output, like if we were taking using it like a speaker output, from a stereo, and wanting to convert it down or something, then I could take and see, wanting to take and use resistors in it. For this simple line level transistor to transistor system like we're doing here, I don't really see, where you're going to need the impedance matching. For the transistor, you're talking just like 22 ohms of resistance is all they're recommending anyway, and just a simple version is just to connect them. Now, on the other hand, if we were going to take and try to convert this over to take and go into a tube set, like this picture shows or whatever, then I could see, putting, a 1K or 2K in there, because you're driving the grid of the first audio tube is very, 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 very weak signal. Usually a lot weaker signal than you're getting out of the detector in the AM/FM on a transistor radio. If you take and you look at the volume controls, a lot of your volume controls in your radios are 250K, 500K, sometimes even up to a meg for a volume control, where in the transistor radios you're only using 50K. There's a lot stronger signal there. So with the stronger, putting the 1 or 2K, that's going to take and knock the signal down, so you're not overdriving the grid of the first audio tube. But there again, in a transistor set like we were doing, I just don't see where it's necessary. The other question came up is that, adding a capacitor or something for DC blocking. Well, if you take and you look in at a radio schematic, you'll see that just before the where C25 is there, that 5 microfarad capacitor there on the left, that's the input to the audio amplifier from the volume control. And you can see that already has a capacitor. That's one reason you run into trouble with radios, because they have electrolytic capacitors all through the audio. So I'm sure that there's one there between the volume control and the first transistor in the audio amplifier section. And going back the other way, worrying about the equipment driving it, there again, if the equipment, the output of the phone, I know from looking at phone diagrams that they're capacitively blocked. And anybody who, the MP3 players or whatever should also be the same way. If you take a look at any of the output for an IC amplifier type output from any of the audio, they always have like this diagram here of an LM386, they have a 250 microfarad there. So there again, I'm sure that there's already, DC blocking, because when they sell the MP3 players, they don't know what you're going to connect it to. So, I'm sure that they have that DC blocked already too. There again, if we were talking, $1,000 units or something like that, then I'd say maybe, add some more blocking. But this was to, a nice, keep it simple. What's the simplest way to take and convert it, the boombox over to take an aux input, either from, phone driving it or an MP3 player driving it. And I think the way we did it is going to be just fine for that particular use. So, thanks everybody for stopping by.